Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Parker's POV. Today we're going to be taking a look at something a little bit different this time. As you can see, I have my 5th gen Toyota 4Runner. This is the SR5 Premium in the brand new underground color. But today I want to throw an accessory on it that I've been waiting for a long time. Below me I've got the Prinsu Pro Roof Rack, and I ordered the Ridgeline handles for it. So super excited. I'm first gonna show you the unboxing, show you what comes in the kit. I'm gonna lay it all out, show you where each part goes. I'm also gonna show you how to remove the factory OEM roof rails. And then finally, I'll show you how to install this bad boy with just one person. So let's get into it. Okay guys, so I don't wanna bore you to death with the unboxing portion of this video because I know most of you are here to see how to install this thing. So let's go ahead and hop into this. So your first box, this big one here, is going to contain the roof rack itself, obviously your inner, your outer rails. You do get a trim molding piece for your front fairing. I'll show you how to install that a little bit later. You do get this smaller box in here that's going to contain your mounting feet, your hardware. They even include this black silicone, which is going to help keep water out of your vehicle. I'll show you that in a little bit as well. And then also they include Loctite, which on my last Prinsu rack, I had to go out and purchase myself. So pretty cool that they included that. But the reason I went with this rack over the standard Prinsu rack is this one claims to be a little over 40% stronger. You're gonna have bigger, beefier crossbars. And they also added stainless steel hardware, which I really, really like. My old rack did have some rust problems with the hardware. So cool to see that they are listening to their customer feedback. This is just the smaller box here that contains those Ridgeline handles. I'll show you those in a little bit as well. But first, let's take off the factory OEM roof rails, and then I'll show you how to install this with just one person. Okay guys, so to remove the factory rails on the 4Runner, you gotta pop these plastic caps off. Now you gotta be careful when you do this because you're using a screwdriver or a pry tool. When you're trying to get some leverage to lift it up, you don't wanna damage your paint or the vehicle itself. So I recommend using a microfiber cloth. Just fold it in half or something like that. Stick your screwdriver under there, and then just try to pry up instead of down, if that makes sense. So get some leverage underneath, pop it up. It should shoot right off just like that did. And then you're gonna wanna repeat that for all 4 corners. Okay, so this next part's gonna require a 12mm socket. And I like to use a power drill here, makes it a lot easier. Just be careful whenever using these. You don't want to strip any of these bolts. So yeah. All right. These will pop off. Repeat that on all 4 sides. Okay, so once you've done that on all 4 sides, you should be able to just lift this whole thing off. And it's pretty lightweight, so I'm just gonna climb up here real quick. And just like that. Okay guys, now that we got everything cleaned up, I'm gonna show you how to install the mounting feet and brackets. So pretty straightforward here. What we're gonna start with are these little rubber washers. So all I'm gonna do is apply a little bit of black silicone around the edges here of this little rubber washer, just like so. And I'm going to press it down on top of these little plastic mounting feet where the previous roof rails were mounted. You got to press down a little bit to get them over the lip. And then we're going to do the same thing with this one here. Just press down or squeeze. Perfect. Okay, so once we have those on, you're going to take your metal risers, whatever you want to call these, set them on top of the holes here, and kind of give them a good press. That way they will seat properly, and it will help disperse that silicone evenly. Perfect. So once we have those on there, we're going to take our bracket. Pretty much all the brackets are labeled, so it's really hard to mess up. The ones that have P's on them are for the passenger side, obviously, and then the ones with the D label on them are going to be for your driver's side. So pretty straightforward. Take your bracket, take one of your bolts with one of your large washers here, stick it through, just kind of get it started here. Same thing on the other side. Now these are a 13 millimeter bolt, whereas the OEM ones were, I believe, 12 millimeter if I remember right. Take your power tool. All right. So you just want them snug but loose to where you can still move them. That's going to make adding the side rails quite a bit easier. So yeah, just repeat that on all 4 sides. Okay guys, just to make things easier on yourselves, I would recommend laying everything out on a blanket like I've done here, just to make sure you have everything. Your outer rails, your inner rails. If you got the handles, make sure you have those handy with the hardware necessary, and then make sure you have all the remaining hardware as well. They are neatly labeled in these bags, so it's really hard to mess up here, guys. You should have 9 black crossbars and 1 silver. The silver is going to be what you mount your wind fairing to, and then of course you'll have your rubber gasket slash trim piece for that fairing. So anyway, we're going to start by mounting the exterior rails here, the outer rails. Okay guys, so I am on the passenger side of the vehicle right now. I grabbed the passenger side outer rail. One thing I recommend you do that I kind of found out the hard way here is take a microfiber cloth or a rag or something, feed it through the front end of this this rail here, just like that. That way when you're putting it up, it's not scratching your paint. I did get a little small scratch on the front there, unfortunately, but here we go. So this around here, we're gonna put it up here. I'm just gonna rest it for just a second here so I can get my hardware out. So I got a couple in my pocket here. I like to start on this middle bracket here. So I'll grab my tool, let me open the door so I have some working space. And then for right now, I'm actually just resting the back one on top of this bracket here, just to protect the vehicle here. I don't want to scratch it again, but just kind of start threading it through. Make sure you use a washer. And we're not going to be Loctiting any of these just yet. This is just to get the rack up on the vehicle. So we have one started there. We'll come to the rear, do the same thing. So now we're going to pull it up and over the bracket and thread it through here. It's starting to get pretty hot out here. All right. So we got it at least most of the way. Then we can grab 2 more, finish the job here. We do not want to tighten these down all the way. We want to leave some play in the rack so that we can get everything mounted up first, and then we'll go through and tighten everything down here in a little bit. So stick this one through. Okay. Got it. One more. This uses a 5/32 Allen bit here, for those wondering. So just kind of get them snug for now. And then again, we'll go back later, get our Loctite in. But because all this is loose, I still have plenty of play here. That's gonna make it a lot easier to mount the crossbars here in a bit. But now we're gonna work on the front fairing, and then we'll work on our inner rails, and then our mounting feet up front, and then finally we'll install all the crossbars.
All right, guys, so now we're going to assemble the wind fairing. As you can see, I'm just sliding those channel nuts into the channels on the crossbar itself. There's 8 of them. You're going to line those up with all 8 holes on the fairing, and I just did that with a Allen key just to line up the holes there. Going through, and I'm just kind of hand tightening it, and then later I'll go through with my impact and tighten them just a little bit further. I do recommend using Loctite when doing this, that way they don't loosen up over time. Next step here is going to be putting on the rubber gasket here. So that just kind of crimps onto the bottom here, and then take some heavy duty wire cutters to trim the excess. Alright guys, so now we're going to attach our wind fairing to the front, but first I grab my inner plate and I sandwich that in between the outer plate and the wind fairing itself. Then there's going to be 2 bolts that go in on either side. So I'll go ahead and tighten these down on the one side, just finger tight, you don't have to go all the way just yet. And then I forgot my plate there, so I went back and grabbed it. So again, sandwiching that inner plate with the wind fairing and putting my 2 bolts in, and then we'll tighten everything down after that. Alright guys, so here's a top view of that inner plate that we just installed. Now notice it does expose where the front mounting feet will be installed here in just a little bit. But before we get to that, we need to install our middle crossbar, which is going to hold up the other end of our inner plate.
Okay guys, so now that we have our front inner plate installed, we're going to go ahead and put our rear inner plate in as well. So this one crossbar in the middle is going to have 1 bolt that holds your front plate here, and then the other one is going to hold the rear. So just want to line up these holes here, see if I can do this. Perfect. We'll grab our other bolt here with our washer, just like so. Make sure we line up our plate for the rear. And same thing. Don't have to make these tight again. We'll go back through and Loctite these. And we'll repeat the same on the other side.
Alright guys, so now we're going to mount our rear crossbar here. So same thing, we're sandwiching that in between our outer plate and inner plate. Now notice the orientation here. We're going to mount this one vertically so that it clears our little shark fin antenna, and then make sure you put your T-channels on the outside for any future accessories.
Okay guys, so now that we have our middle and our rear crossbar installed here, we're going to mount our front feet here. So super easy. You're going to have 2 brackets like this. They are identical, so it doesn't matter which one goes to which side. You're going to get 2 pieces of 3M tape. You want to prep and clean the bottom side of this bracket with alcohol, rubbing alcohol, and then apply your 3M tape here. Don't take your sticker off just yet. And then what we're going to do is, now that we have our inner plate there, it shows us where this bracket will go. So we'll just line it up here, grab a pen or something. And we're just going to mark where we need to cut our weather stripping here. That way this will seat nice and flush with the roof of the vehicle. So now that we have our marks here, I'm going to pull this up about where I need it. I have this performance tool. I don't know what this is called, but it's just a heavy duty wire cutter essentially. And then we're just going to line it up here. Cut that, and cut that. So now we should be left with 2 pieces of our our weather stripping here. Now we can peel off this adhesive tape here. Remember, we already cleaned the surface down here. Actually, no, we didn't. Let's go ahead and do that while we're up here. So again, just with some alcohol, which I have some left on here, just go ahead and wipe that area out so that the adhesive has a strong bond. Perfect. Go ahead and press that in there. Nice and good. All right, then we're gonna take our bolt and our washer, feed it through the hole here. Maybe, if I can get it. Oh, I gotta lift our rail a little bit. Start threading that through. 2 bolts on each side. Okay guys, so now that we have pretty much the basics of our rack set up here, now we're gonna go through and we're gonna tighten all of the feet here. So remember, we didn't put any Loctite or anything on these big bolts here that go into the cab. So we're just gonna loosen this up here real quick. And because of the curvature of this top rail, it's hard to get a drill in here. This would be a lot easier if I wasn't doing this by hand, but that's okay. Just keep twisting it, twisting it, twisting it. And then once you get it out, we're gonna take some more of that black silicone here. We're gonna squirt it down into the hole where that bolt just came out of. Not a ton, but just enough. That looks good. We're gonna stick our bolt and our washer back through. Thread it back in. And that silicone is gonna seal that hole. It's gonna prevent any water from getting in there in the future here. So go ahead and tighten these up all the way on all 4 corners, and then we'll move on to the last couple steps here. Alrighty guys, so we are almost done with this install. A couple more things here. I wanted to mount those ridgeline handles that I had ordered. These are a great addition to this roof rack. And the cool thing about them is you can place them just about anywhere along the side rail here, or anywhere you have crossbars for that matter. So really customizable. They do have a plate here in the middle that can be popped out, and then you can put a scene light inside of that. Might do that down the road. I guess we'll see here. Last step of this install, which I'm probably not going to show it because it's probably pretty boring, but I'm going to go through and I'm going to Loctite every single bolt on this thing. That way I don't have to worry about it vibrating and becoming loose over time. But I just wanted to thank the folks over there at CBI Off-Road, Prinsu Designs out in Idaho Falls, for helping me, well, sponsoring this video for one. I did purchase this rack with my own money though, so all this is my genuine reaction, and I'm super excited, guys. I've owned many of their products before, and I think this Pro lineup is going to be a great addition to the 5th Gen 4Runner. So again, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions that I didn't cover, please feel free to leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like the video. It helps me out a lot, and yeah.